The 2022 New York City Marathon has lived up to the hype of the pre-race expectations, with one keen South American and a few keen Kenyans lighting up the track for what made some brilliant viewing. Going into the race, with the average weather conditions of November in New York City usually being around 9 degrees Celsius, a spanner was thrown in the works because race day was 23 degrees Celsius or 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, with a South American and a few Kenyans and an Ethiopian being the favourites, we assumed that this wouldn't play too much of an impact on the overall performance. However, with such heat on race day, you never know exactly what kind of impact that's going to make on the mindset of the athletes. As soon as that gun went off, with the Kenyans and the Ethiopians being the favourites for this race, especially mine based on the video I just put up the other day, a spanner was thrown in the works with Daniel Do Nascimento absolutely laying something down in a way which we hadn't seen too many athletes in recent history, apart from the likes of Eliud Kipchoge, lay down. As a 2 hour, 4 minute and 50 second runner, we knew he was pretty good, but for even a pretty good runner, the pace that he went out at was pretty inspiring. He went through the first 10K in 28 minutes and 42 seconds, which, just to clarify, is well and truly on world record pace. If he had maintained that pace for the duration of the run, he would have run 2 hours, 1 minute and 3 seconds, which would have taken a chunk of Eliud Kipchoge's world record that he set in Berlin earlier this year. It was looking as though something big could happen as well, because despite a pace dropping slightly from 10K to the half point, he went through halfway in 61 minutes and 22 seconds, which is nearly 2 minutes faster than what Geoffrey Mutai went through the same course halfway point when he set the course record. It's going to be an interesting second half, and interesting it was, and unfortunately not interesting in the sense that he managed to hold on to this pace and absolutely blow our minds with a course record. At the 18-mile mark, he popped into the loo for 18 seconds, which is never a super positive message for a marathon runner. If you need the toilet, things are, you're guessing, getting a little bit messy. At the 30-kilometre mark, he still had a 1 minute and 7 second lead over Evans Shebet and the rest of the field. And shortly after, for the first time in the race, Daniel had to stop and walk to catch his breath. At this point, we knew things were going to get really, really interesting for the rest of the field. Not too long after that, Daniel Do Nascimento pulled off to the side of the track and collapsed, leaving Evans Shebet, my personal pre-race favourite, leading the race. Not too far behind Shebet was another favourite for the race, Shura Katada, the Ethiopian. And as we approached 35 kilometres, Evans held a 17-second lead over Katada. In the final stages of this race, it was going to be interesting to see how much fatigue and that heat played an impact on these guys' ability to maintain their pace. Hitting the 40-kilometre mark, Katada had closed that gap down to just 12 seconds. But from that point forward, Shebet kicked into overtime and managed to hold out that 12-second lead. Shebet became only the third man this century to complete the Boston Marathon, New York City Marathon double, winning in 2 hours, 8 minutes and 42 seconds, with Shura Katada, the Ethiopian, not too far behind him. The New York City Marathon highlight for me was clearly the South American, Daniel Do Nascimento's brilliant attempt to go out and have a crack. Some people are calling it crazy, some people are calling it unwise, but those same people, if he had had the ability to maintain this pace for the whole race, would be calling it courageous and brilliant. As a 2 hour and 4 minute man, and still relatively young, he's only 24, we don't know just how far this guy can push his legs over the marathon. In a couple of months, I think if he lines up again and has an opportunity, if I was his coach, I'd say, hey, let's just back off a little bit for that first half and try and maintain the pace over the course of the race. If he does on a faster course with better conditions, I can't see any reasons why the guy can't run under 2 hours and 4 minutes. It's going to be really interesting to see. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below. Do you think it was crazy, or was it just a courageous attempt that didn't quite work out? Let me know what you think he's capable of. Massive congratulations to Evans Shebet and the athletes closing out that top three. Huge run. Everyone else who competed in the New York City Marathon 2022 and got to that finish line, congratulations. If you're a fan of the distance running world and these kind of reviews, but more than just reviews, coaching, interviews, practical guidance to take your running to the next level, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I've got new videos coming out here every week, but in the meantime, let's continue that conversation down in the comments below.